Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Mattia Larentis. I'm a full-stack web developer in Spazio Dati. I'm a board game addict, so if you want to play with me or talk about board games, just book me. And of course, I love beers, so I can be a bit snob, so stay away. And I work in this company. It's called Spazio Dati, as Davide before. So if you was here before, so okay. Spazio Dati is a company about semantic stuff, big data, and other buzzword that you love. We are 32, and we are hiring. We are both in Trento and in Pisa, and we are looking for people. I work here on a product. This product is called Atoka. And Atoka is a tool for marketing and sales intelligence. Works on different countries, actually in Italy, for UK, for Russia. And is written in Django and React. Spazio Dati was born 6 years ago. And some years ago, Atoka was born. And today we talk to you about SSR, server-side rendering. What is server-side rendering? How many of you uses React? Okay. Who knows what is React? Okay. React is a library written by Facebook that basically helps developer to build a new web using components, and it's a fancy way to write JavaScript or TypeScript in our case. And React allows you to write isomorphic code. What does it mean? It means that you can write code that runs on the web, on the browser, on the server at the same time with the same code somehow. And so basically, this is how a normal React application works. So a user asks for a page via the browser. The server say, oh, OK, a new request. Send to the user the plain HTML. OK, the browser read the response and say, OK, I have to download React. I have to download the JavaScript. When everything is complete, the JavaScript is run. And after a bit, the page is viewable, interactable. That means that you can get information and use the application to do something like hide and show stuff or get other information as a request and so on. With server-side rendering, something changed. It means that the user asks for the page, but is the server that gets some information across the database, the API, whatever, build an HTML and send it back to the browser. And the browser download the React, the script, and after a bit, the page is also interactable. So, of course, React and server-side rendering are not silver bullets. There are pros and cons, and we will see them. For example, the SEO, the search engine crawlers, is of course a pros. There are companies like Google's, Bing, and so on that go all over the web, searching for websites, crawling the content, build a database or whatever, and put this data, allow user to search in this data across a web page like Google. But if your web page does not give information in the first page, like you have to do AJAX request to get information to show, it means that the crawler, actually all the crawlers but Google, are able to find this information. So if you write a an application that uses only Ajax to get information, you will not be on Google, on Bing, and so on. So using server-side rendering can fix this stuff. Dry, don't repeat yourself. This is the key of server-side rendering in my case. So I don't like to write the same code for the front end, for generating code in front end in the browser or in the back end. I just want to write the code once. And I prefer to create an infrastructure in order to use it in 2 different places. No script. I'm quite sure that in this room right now there are at least one person that don't like to run JavaScript by default, right? Okay. This is a problem for me. So using server-side rendering means that the stuff that I want to show you using JavaScript, I can show you as well without using JavaScript, but building the same content in the server. And of course, you cannot play with the JavaScript after the viewing, but you can only view but not interact with the page. But this is, I don't give a fuck, basically. It's your fault, not my fault. So that's it. Server-side rendering somehow improves the performance. Why? Because when you get the information from the server, when you get the page from the server, the page can be viewed, can be printed at the moment. The browser don't need to download React, download the script, and build the page. Just say, OK, this is the HTML, like a static page, just render it. And it works like a charm. But there are always but. This is the first one. The great performance, of course. Why? Because if you don't get information from the browser, you have to get information from the server. So get information from the server can be slow. And the response, theoretically, will be bigger than before. So transferring this page now costs more time, and it's obvious, I think. And more complex OP. Django does not run JavaScript. Django is written in Python and runs Python. And how can Django run JavaScript as well? Using nodes. So you have to communicate to allow Django to communicate with a node instance. To do that, basically, you will take up and running a Django and a node and allow them to communicate via HTTP. And of course, node is node, and node is another point of failure. But we like JavaScript, so we can go ahead. The other stuff is more complex code. Yes, I said that isomorphic JavaScript allows you to write a code and write it as is in the browser and in the server. Actually, it's not so right, because maybe you have to write some if in order to say, OK, if the code is running on the browser, do this as Ajax request and get the data and do this. Otherwise, if you are in the server, get the data from a variable or whatever and use it. So you have to write some code. But how we use SSR in Spaziodati right now? One day, a client of ours come to us and say, OK, I want to download a PDF. And a PDF, these PDFs have to show information about, in our case, companies, a company. And so I said, OK, I don't want to write the code to show the same information that I show in the UI, but I just want to use the same components, React components, in order to save time and enjoy more. And so we did it, and it works. Somehow. We have to finish it, but it works. We are not alone. There are other companies all over the world that use React. server-side rendering of React. The first one is Airbnb. That is one of the most important cases that migrate a lot of code to use SSR. Another one is Facebook, of course. React is written by Facebook, so Facebook uses server-side rendering and moves components by components in order to do it in an iterative way. The third one is Quora, and the first one, what's that? How does it work? How does it work? Basically, this is how it works. So a user asks for a request, as we said before. Django goes to databases, APIs, whatever, to take data, get this data and the component that we want to render, and say to Node, OK, you have this component, you have this data, do your job. And after a while, you get the response that basically is the HTML, the build HTML. Django say, OK, I have to take this stuff, put in this place, and get the response back to the user. How can you do it? Basically, it's quite simple, actually. So pip install React something. And I use this version for this presentation, but I'm not sure if this is the last one, but you can check it out. You have to add some settings, like render true, that means render server side, please, and where to find node. Render is a variable because they said the React guy said, OK, you don't want to use server-side rendering while developing. Just develop your stuff in a normal way, and after that, put true and use it only in production. And this is a view. So but it is like something super cool here means get data from API and whatever. Render component is the call that calls node, passing the component that we want to render and the data that the component needs to be rendered. And after that, you can do the stuff that you want, like a normal view. I don't know, save that the user downloaded the PDF or whatever, and then render index HTML, passing the rendered and data that you want to pass to the front end. This is index HTML, and this is the example. So app container, you inject the data, the HTML from node in this place. Store is a global variable in JavaScript that you can initialize to allow the React in the browser to know the last state rendered by the node in order to start from the same point to interact with. And the last line is due to download the React, download your code, and stuff. OK, demo. Oh, doesn't work. Please. Wow. Again. Mouse. OK. Adesso di qua. OK. So, it's not so simple. This is a project I did to show you React server-side rendering. This is my jam. Basically, I have some colleagues of mine says that I listen to bad music, so I want to save in my memory the music that I used to listen to. So, for example, there are some music that I used to listen, but it's not important. And I can copy and paste here a new Spotify URL, click add, and everything works. But as we can see here, basically, this is the stuff that comes from Node. Can you see better? No? OK. So for example, Fabrizio Bizzarlinet is a guy. This is the song, and so on. So from here, I can do it. But in the script, there is the store, so the last state of the application, rendered by Node. And stop. As you can see, the last one, the last PK, that is one field of an item, is the 29. So I'll go to not here. I take a random song. I don't see the button. Share, please share. Here, share. Copy song. OK. I'll go here. Add. OK. 29 is the last PK, of course, because this data is static. But here appear a new track that is somewhere here. Here, this one. OK. If I refresh again, the track is there. HTML, of course, exists. And the last PK is the 30-something. 34. I trust you. I don't see it. OK, 30. OK, whatever. OK, how it works. So URLs, you add this view is a normal view, it's a normal Django view. From the Django view, you say, OK, I want to render this component, trackbox, and this is the stuff that I send to the backend, to the front end, to set up the store after the rendered. And this is the node call to say, render this server side, please. And basically, this is the stuff that I want to return to the browser with this data. These data are injected here and here. This is the React stuff. How the server works is quite simple. So the Django view send a post to the render endpoint, and in the record body there is the path. So Node goes to the path, take the component, render it, and then send it back to Python. And this is how the browser uses the store. So I want to render again the trackbox using these props. That is basically the starting date data for the application. OK? OK. So what we learned today. 1, migrating the code is not painless. You have to write other code in order to use server-side rendering. But it's not mandatory to move the whole code. You can just say, OK, I don't want to migrate this page. I don't want to migrate that one. I just want to create a PDF using the components that I use in the front end, and that's it. We don't, in Spazzazzati, we don't want to migrate the whole code. Actually, I don't want to. 3, your infrastructure will be more complex. You have to set up and keep it up and running Node. And Node is another point of failure, so everything can go wrong. And 4, but I'm a front-ender, and I don't want to write code with Jinja or Django template. So I prefer to use this stuff. 5, the code will be a bit more complex, but the SO will be improved. So SSR is not a silver bullet for all the problems, but can solve them, some of them. That's all.
Okay.
But please don't.
But if you like, any question?
Yes.
No.
No. I don't know.
If you would have to write the same code for the same project tomorrow, you will use the same Django and Node, or just use Node?
Django and Node.
Why?
Because I like Django. I like the ORM and stuff, and as I said, I don't want to move all the stuff to use React server-side rendering just because it's a buzzword, because everyone is using it. I just want to move the stuff that I really care about it and that have sense to migrate. And I use Django. I've used Django for 6, 7, I don't remember, years. And I feel good, so I don't want me to move.
Another question? No?
Is this architecture means a big overhead in a bigger project? I mean, using Node.js with Django as well?
Actually, I don't know, but I don't think so. It's just another Docker in your collection of Dockers that you have to keep up and running and allow them to communicate. So it's not a big price to pay, I think.
Thank you.
Maybe memory, but I don't know.
Time for last question? Okay. Thank you so much.